Ladies and gentlemen, all right? Listen up. You ever get into one of those arguments where you're trying so hard to prove your point, but the other person just won't listen? You keep talking, getting louder, getting frustrated, and guess what? Nothing changes. They don't see your side, and you end up more stressed than before. Now, what if I told you the smartest move you can make isn't to argue harder, but to stop talking altogether? To silence them without saying a word. Today, I'm going to show you how not arguing can actually give you the power you've been looking for. Stick around, because once you learn this, your whole approach to conflict and life will flip upside down. Choosing your battles wisely is one of the smartest things you can do in life, especially when it comes to arguments and conflicts. It sounds simple, but most people don't really understand how powerful this idea is until they start practicing it. You see, not every disagreement is worth your time, your energy, or your peace of mind. Sometimes jumping into every fight or trying to prove every point just drags you down and leaves you feeling exhausted and frustrated. The truth is, learning when to engage and when to walk away is a skill that can change your life for the better. Imagine you're at work or with family and someone says something that bothers you. Your first instinct might be to argue back, to defend yourself or your ideas. But here's the thing, if that argument doesn't lead to anything positive or productive, you've just wasted your energy. You've fed negativity, raised your stress levels, and maybe even damaged your relationships. That's why the first step to silencing unnecessary arguments is to ask yourself, is this battle worth fighting? If the answer is no, then you've already won by simply choosing not to get involved. Choosing your battles wisely means you focus your energy on the things that truly matter. When you waste your time arguing over small things, opinions, misunderstandings, or minor annoyances, you lose sight of the bigger picture. Instead, save your strength for the fights that impact your values, your goals, or your well-being. These are the battles that deserve your voice and your attention. When you protect your energy this way, you become stronger and more focused. People start to notice that you don't get caught up in drama, and that builds respect. This idea also means you don't have to win every argument to win in life. Sometimes, stepping away from a fight shows more strength than forcing your point. There is power in silence and in walking away with your dignity intact. It's like a boxer who doesn't throw every punch, but waits for the right moment to strike. You don't have to react to every jab or insult. You get to decide when something deserves your response and when it's better to remain quiet and composed. Another important part of choosing your battles wisely is understanding your own limits. Everyone has a breaking point, and if you're constantly fighting battles that don't matter, you risk burning out. When you protect your mental and emotional energy, you're more prepared for the challenges that truly require your attention. It's like budgeting your money. You wouldn't spend your savings on things that don't matter, right? The same goes for your energy and focus. Spend them where they count. Choosing wisely also helps you avoid unnecessary conflict and tension. When you refuse to argue over trivial things, you reduce stress not just for yourself, but for those around you. People appreciate calm and reason more than constant fighting. Over time, this creates an environment where meaningful conversations can happen because you've set the tone. You've shown that you're someone who values peace and wisdom over winning every petty argument. You might be wondering, how do I know which battles to choose? It's a question of perspective and priorities. Ask yourself what you stand for and what your long-term goals are. If the argument distracts you from those, it's probably not worth your time. Also, consider whether the argument will lead to a solution or just more frustration. If there's no chance of resolving the issue positively, silence might be your best response. Remember, choosing your battles doesn't mean you're weak or avoidant. It means you're smart, mature, and in control of your emotions. It means you're focused on what really matters and refuse to waste your life on fights that bring no real value. When you master this skill, you free yourself from endless drama and open the door to greater peace and success. So the next time you feel yourself getting pulled into a fight, stop and think, is this a battle worth fighting? If it's not, choose silence. Walk away. Protect your energy. You'll be surprised how much power you gain when you stop arguing just for the sake of arguing. That's how you silence them without saying a word. That's how you keep your peace, your dignity, and your power. And that's how you win in the game of life. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you have, especially when dealing with arguments or conflicts. It might sound strange at first. After all, we're taught to speak up, defend ourselves, and make sure our voice is heard. But sometimes silence speaks louder than any words ever could. When you refuse to argue or react, you take away the fuel that feeds the fire of conflict. Silence confuses people who expect a reaction. It shows control, strength, and confidence. And those qualities are much more powerful than winning a shouted argument. Think about it. When someone tries to get under your skin, what do they really want? They want a reaction. They want you to get upset, angry, or frustrated because that reaction gives them power over you. But when you choose silence instead, you deny them that power. Suddenly, they're left talking to a wall. And that silence can be louder than 1,000 angry words. It tells the other person that you're above the fight, that their attempts to drag you down don't work, and that you control your emotions, not the other way around. Silence also gives you the space to think clearly. When you're in the middle of an argument, emotions can cloud your judgment. You might say things you regret later, or you might miss the chance to respond wisely. But when you stay silent, you give yourself time to breathe and to consider the best course of action. This moment of calm allows you to respond thoughtfully or simply walk away with dignity. It keeps you from escalating the situation and helps you maintain your peace of mind. Another important thing about silence is that it commands respect. People respect those who don't rush to defend themselves or fight every battle. When you remain calm and quiet in the face of criticism or provocation, you show maturity. You show that you're confident enough not to prove yourself to anyone. This kind of self-assuredness makes others take notice, and often it makes them reconsider how they treat you in the future. Silence becomes a form of strength that others admire. Silence can also be a form of boundary setting. When you don't engage with negativity, you're telling people, I will not waste my time or energy on drama. You protect yourself from toxic conversations and unhealthy relationships by simply choosing not to participate. This doesn't mean you're ignoring problems or avoiding important discussions. It means you're choosing the right time and place to engage rather than getting pulled into every fight that comes your way. By doing this, you keep your emotional health intact and show others that you won't tolerate disrespect or negativity. There's also something almost mysterious about silence. It creates a space where words stop, and people are forced to listen, even if it's just to their own thoughts. When you stay quiet, it can make others question their own words and behavior. Sometimes your silence prompts them to reflect and realize they were wrong or that the argument wasn't worth it in the first place. It's a subtle way to influence the situation without having to say a single word. It's important to note that silence isn't about ignoring your feelings or pretending you don't care. It's about choosing a better way to respond. It's about controlling yourself instead of letting your emotions control you. When you master this, you gain freedom from the chaos that arguments create. You don't get dragged into every conflict, and you keep your mind clear and focused. In a world that often values noise and loud opinions, choosing silence can be revolutionary. It's a quiet rebellion against chaos and drama. It's a way of saying, I'm bigger than this. I'm stronger than this. And that kind of strength is what truly changes lives. Not just yours, but the people around you. So next time you feel the urge to argue or defend yourself, try silence instead. Watch how it shifts the energy, how it confuses those who want to provoke you, and how it gives you peace. Silence isn't weakness. It's power, the kind of power that lets you silence them without saying a word. Actions speak louder than words. You've heard that phrase a million times, but it holds a truth that many people don't fully grasp, especially when it comes to dealing with conflicts, criticism, or arguments. When someone is trying to bring you down or prove you wrong, the natural reaction is to argue back, explain yourself, or try to convince them with words. But words can only do so much. They can be ignored, twisted, or forgotten. What really sticks is what you do, your actions. Think about it like this. If someone is constantly talking about how good they are at something, but their actions don't match, what do you really believe? Probably nothing. But if someone doesn't say much, yet their work, their behavior, and their results speak for themselves, that's when people start to respect and listen. Actions have the power to shut down arguments without you ever needing to raise your voice. Instead of trying to prove yourself with words, prove yourself by what you do every day. Actions create a reality that can't be argued with. No matter how much someone tries to dispute your point, they can't argue with facts. And facts are shown through your actions. When you focus on building your character, improving yourself, working hard and living your values, you send a message that is stronger than any argument. People start to notice your consistency and dedication, and that changes the way they treat you. This is especially important because words are cheap. Anyone can say anything, but not everyone is willing to back their words up with effort and results. When you demonstrate your worth through your actions, you gain credibility that words alone cannot earn. You become someone who doesn't have to explain or defend themselves because your life and your behavior already speak volumes. Moreover, focusing on your actions rather than arguments helps you stay in control of your emotions. When you get caught up in verbal fights, you often react emotionally, and that clouds your judgment. But when your energy is directed toward positive actions, you keep your mind clear and your goals in sight. You avoid wasting time on negative energy, and instead, you channel your focus into growth and success. Another benefit of showing through actions is that it inspires others. People are drawn to those who walk their talk, who don't just talk about change, but actually make it happen. When you live with integrity and work hard quietly, you set an example for others. Your success and attitude become a kind of silent motivation that encourages others to rise as well. It's a powerful way to lead without needing to argue or convince. Sometimes the best way to silence someone who doubts you or criticizes you is not to respond at all. Just keep doing your thing. When you let your actions take center stage, the noise from critics dies down. They lose their power because they no longer have your attention. And more importantly, you're building a future they can't ignore. Think about the long-term impact of this. Words can create temporary drama, but actions build lasting legacies. When you focus on doing your work, improving your skills, helping others, and living with purpose, you're not just winning the moment, you're winning life. That's the kind of success that no argument can undo. So next time someone tries to get into your head or challenge you, remember, you don't have to argue back. Let your actions do the talking. Show them who you really are by what you do every single day. That's how you win respect, keep your peace, and truly silence any negativity without ever raising your voice. Letting go of the need to always be right is one of the hardest, yet most freeing lessons you can learn. When we get caught up in arguments, a big part of the struggle is our desire to prove ourselves, to win the point, or to be seen as smarter or stronger. But this constant need to be right can trap us in endless conflict and stress. It's like carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks. Every time you insist on being right, you add another rock. Letting go of that need is choosing to lighten your load and free yourself from unnecessary battles. When you release the need to be right, you stop feeding the argument. You stop getting tangled in the back, and fourth, that never really leads to peace or understanding. Instead, you create space for calm, for listening, and for seeing things from a different perspective. This doesn't mean you become a pushover or that you let others walk all over you. It means you value your peace and your growth more than the temporary satisfaction of winning an argument. One of the biggest reasons people hold on so tightly to being right is pride. We want others to acknowledge our intelligence, our viewpoint, or our status. But pride often blinds us to the bigger picture. It keeps us stuck in a place where we fight just to protect our ego instead of seeking real solutions or understanding. Letting go of being right means putting aside pride and focusing on what really matters: your peace, your relationships, and your happiness. When you let go of the need to be right, you gain control over your emotions. You stop reacting defensively and start responding thoughtfully. Instead of feeling attacked and needing to defend yourself, you can calmly assess the situation and decide what's best for you. This shift in mindset helps you avoid unnecessary fights and keeps your energy focused on positive things. You stop letting other people's opinions dictate your mood or your actions. Letting go also opens the door to learning and growth. When you're not obsessed with being right, you become open to other ideas, perspectives, and possibilities. You stop seeing differences as threats and start seeing them as opportunities to expand your understanding. This kind of openness makes you wiser and more adaptable. It helps you build stronger connections with others because you're willing to listen and understand rather than just argue. There's a powerful peace that comes from accepting that you don't have to be right all the time. Life isn't about proving yourself to others. It's about growing, evolving, and finding happiness on your own terms. When you accept that, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of conflict and control. You stop trying to force your way and instead allow things to flow naturally. Letting go of the need to be right also teaches humility. It reminds you that everyone has their own story, their own experiences, and their own truths. Just because someone sees things differently doesn't mean they're wrong. Sometimes it's okay to agree to disagree and move on. This attitude can save you a lot of headaches and heartaches. In relationships, whether at work, with family, or with friends, letting go of being right can transform how you interact. Instead of creating tension and distance, you build respect and understanding. People appreciate when you don't insist on winning every argument, but instead show kindness and patience. This doesn't mean giving up your values. It means choosing harmony over conflict. Ultimately, letting go of the need to be right is about choosing your peace over proving your point. It's about valuing your emotional health more than your ego. It's about realizing that sometimes silence, understanding, and calm carry more power than any argument ever could. So next time you feel that fire inside to be right, take a step back. Ask yourself if winning this argument is really worth your peace of mind. Chances are it's not. Let go, breathe, and watch how your life changes when you stop fighting to be right and start living for peace. Choosing your peace over proving a point is a game changer in how you handle conflicts and arguments. It's easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment, wanting to defend yourself, set the record straight, or prove someone wrong. But what if I told you that sometimes the best victory isn't in winning the argument, but in winning your peace? This is a powerful mindset shift that can change your life and how you relate to others. When you focus on proving your point, you're often engaging in a battle of words that can leave everyone drained and frustrated. Arguments can escalate quickly, emotions run high, and before you know it, you're stuck in a cycle of tension and resentment. But when you prioritize your peace, you choose to step back from that chaos. You decide that no matter what someone says or does, you won't let it disturb your calm or your happiness. Choosing peace means you value your emotional well-being more than the need to be right or to convince others. It means you recognize that sometimes it's not worth the stress, the anger, or the hurt to get the last word. This doesn't mean you're weak or that you don't stand up for yourself. It means you're smart enough to pick your battles and strong enough to walk away from unnecessary conflict. One of the biggest reasons people get stuck in arguments is the false belief that proving their point will make others respect them more. But respect that's earned through heated fights and stubbornness is shallow and temporary. True respect comes from how you carry yourself, how you handle tough situations, and how you maintain your dignity. When you choose peace, you show others that you are mature and in control, not easily rattled by negativity. Choosing peace also protects your mental health. Constantly trying to prove yourself drains your energy and can cause anxiety, stress, and frustration. It keeps your mind occupied with negativity, which blocks your focus on what really matters, your goals, your happiness, and your growth. When you choose peace, you free your mind from these toxic loops and create space for positivity and calm. Another powerful aspect of choosing peace is that it gives you freedom. Freedom from needing validation from others. Freedom from the pressure to always be right. Freedom from the drama that often accompanies conflicts. This freedom is priceless because it allows you to live life on your own terms, not dictated by other people's opinions or actions. Choosing peace doesn't mean you ignore problems or avoid important conversations. It means you approach situations with a calm and clear mind, ready to listen and understand rather than react impulsively. When you do this, you often find that many arguments don't even need to happen. Problems get solved faster, relationships improve, and you feel a deep sense of satisfaction knowing you stayed true to yourself. When you let go of the need to prove your point and choose peace, you also inspire others around you. People notice when you remain calm in chaos, when you refuse to be pulled into fights, and when you respond with kindness instead of anger. Your example can encourage those around you to rethink how they handle their own conflicts. You become a source of calm in a storm, a beacon of peace others want to follow. It's important to remember that peace is a choice. It doesn't always come easy, especially when emotions are high or when you feel wronged. But every time you choose peace over proving your point, you train yourself to be stronger and wiser. You build resilience that helps you handle life's challenges without losing your calm. So next time you find yourself in a situation where you want to argue just to prove you're right, pause and ask yourself, is this worth my peace? More often than not, the answer will be no. Choosing peace doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means taking control of your emotions and deciding that your happiness matters more than being right in someone else's eyes. This choice may not change what others say or do, but it will change how you feel and how you live. And that's where real power lies. Choose your peace and watch how your life shifts from chaos to calm, from stress to strength, and from conflict to true happiness. Silence can be one of the most powerful tools you have when it comes to handling conflicts and arguments. It's surprising how often people underestimate the impact of saying nothing, but sometimes silence speaks louder than any words ever could. In a world that encourages us to respond quickly and defend ourselves instantly, choosing silence takes strength, wisdom, and control. It's not about giving up or running away. It's about owning your power without needing to prove yourself through endless talking. When someone is trying to get a reaction out of you, they're feeding off your energy. The more you argue, defend, or explain, the more fuel you give to the fire. Silence, on the other hand, starves that fire. When you refuse to engage in unnecessary battles, you take away the satisfaction they seek. This can be incredibly frustrating for the other person because they expect a fight or a response, but instead you show them calm and confidence. Silence can confuse them, disarm them, and sometimes even make them reconsider their approach. Choosing silence doesn't mean you are weak or that you're backing down. It means you have enough self-respect to not lower yourself to petty arguments. It means you understand that not every battle is yours to fight. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. When you stay silent, you keep your dignity intact and avoid getting dragged into negativity that serves no purpose. This keeps your mind clear, your emotions steady, and your spirit strong. Silence also gives you time to think. When you're caught up in the heat of the moment, it's easy to say things you don't mean or to react impulsively. By choosing silence, you pause and create space to breathe and reflect. This pause helps you respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally. It allows you to consider what's really worth your energy and what's better left alone. This kind of control is a sign of maturity and wisdom. Another benefit of silence is that it can shift the dynamics of a conversation. When you refuse to argue back, others might feel the need to fill the silence, which can lead them to rethink their words or soften their tone. Silence can act like a mirror, reflecting back the intensity or negativity and giving people a chance to see their own behavior from a different angle. It's a way of holding space without confrontation, and that can be surprisingly effective. Silence also protects your mental and emotional health. Constant arguing can drain your energy and leave you feeling exhausted and stressed. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of negativity that affects your mood and overall well-being. When you choose silence, you're choosing peace. Peace of mind, peace of heart, and peace of spirit. This choice helps you stay balanced and focused on what truly matters in your life. It's important to remember that silence doesn't mean you're ignoring problems or avoiding communication altogether. It's about choosing when and how to engage. Sometimes silence is a way to avoid unnecessary drama and preserve your energy for things that truly deserve your attention. Other times, it's a way to send a clear message that you're not interested in getting pulled into fruitless arguments or negativity. In relationships, whether personal or professional, mastering the art of silence can improve how you interact with others. When you don't rush to respond to every challenge, you create a space of calm and respect. People learn that you're not easily shaken and that you value peace over conflict. This can lead to healthier communication and stronger connections because people feel less need to provoke you. Choosing silence also means trusting yourself. You don't have to prove anything to anyone because you know your worth. You're confident enough to stay calm and composed even when others are trying to stir the pot. This confidence is magnetic and commands respect in ways that words often cannot. So, next time you're faced with someone trying to argue or bother you, remember the power of silence. Instead of jumping into the fray, take a deep breath, stay calm, and let silence be your answer. It's a quiet strength that can silence negativity, protect your peace, and give you the upper hand without saying a word. Sometimes the best way to win is not by talking louder, but by being still and letting your silence speak volumes.